Welcome to the Budget Browser, an online interactive budget tool created by the Massachusetts Budget and Policy Center. With the Budget Browser, you can look up and keep track of spending on programs and services you care about. The Budget Browser allows you to search for state budget information and see trends from fiscal year 2001 through the current fiscal year. It is also updated to include budget proposals for the next fiscal year, as they are released by the Governor and the Legislature. The Budget Browser can be found on the homepage of the MassBudget website at www.massbudget.org by clicking on the Budget Browser button at the top right of our homepage. You can also reach the Budget Browser page directly at browser.massbudget.org. The browser has two main tools. The top row is the comparison tool. Compare past year's budgets, compare current budget proposals, and compare current versus past budgets. Clicking on any of these provides pre-selected reports that compare current and past year budgets, which you can then customize. The second tool, Search Line Items and Categories, allows you to drill down further in your search to compare funding for a single line item or group of line items, from FY 2001 to the present. I'll walk you through a few examples to show you how it works. First, we'll use the Compare Past Year's Budget function. As I mentioned, when you use the comparison tool, you get a pre-formatted report. So, in the case of the Compare Past Year's Budget function, this is the table that automatically is generated. It shows spending by category over time for the FY01 to FY09 budgets. These are the default years that are pre-selected for this function. For the other two comparisons, current proposals and current versus past years, there are also pre-selected defaults, and a table is automatically generated showing those defaults. However, you can customize the report based on the specific years that you are interested in. When using the comparison tool, these options appear on the web page above the automatically generated table. This is where you can modify the table. Step 1 lets you select from among the automatically generated reports. It is essentially the same thing as selecting from one of the three comparisons from the home page. It shows you what the default selections are for each of the comparisons. In Step 2, you can modify the selection of budgets. Here you can use the Add and Remove buttons to select up to 9 budgets of your own choice to compare, past, current, or proposals. In Step 3, you select an inflation adjustment. This is important because it allows you to make meaningful comparisons over time by taking into account the effect of inflation or the rising cost of goods and services. In our example, we will use the inflation adjustment based on goods and services that government buys. To learn more about inflation, go to the About the Budget Browser tab. Finally, you click on the orange Update Table button to get your results. Here, again, is the table showing funding by category for the years we selected. In this case, we have kept to the default selection, FY01 to FY09. If you click on the name of a category, say Education, you can see the spending over time for each of the subcategories. The subcategories in education are Chapter 70, Early Education and Care, Elementary and Secondary Education, Higher Education, and School Building. This is the level of detail that you can get through the Compare tool. You can learn what we include in each category by going to the About the Budget Browser tab. But what if you want to get more specific information? This, again, is the Budget Browser homepage. To drill down to more specific information by line item, we will select the Search Line Items and Categories function of the browser. In this function, you can either search for a specific line item or search within categories. In Step 1, you can either enter in a line item number. The example shown here is for UMass, line item 71000200, or you can search by keyword or phrase to find all the line items related to that word or phrase. If you're looking for UMass, for example, you can enter the word university here to find all the associated line items. Another option is to view all the line items within a category and subcategory. Here we've selected the category Education and the subcategory Higher Education. When you search for a keyword or phrase, you will see a list of all the associated line items, which you can then browse through and select the ones you're interested in. Again, the example we've used is the UMass line item, which is selected here. In step 3, you select an inflation adjustment. Again, we have chosen the inflation adjustment based on goods and services purchased by government. And in step 4, you select the budgets that you wish to compare. You can select up to 12. We have selected FY06 to the FY11 Governor's Proposal. Then, you click the orange Retrieve Data button to get your results. This is the search results page for the line item for UMass. A chart shows the spending for UMass over the budgets you selected. In this example, we chose one line item. If you had chosen more than one line item, the results would have been the sum of funding for all the line items you chose. You also get a data table showing the level of funding in each year, both in nominal dollars and in inflation-adjusted dollars. Often, funding for programs and services gets shifted around in different agencies or departments, and sometimes even moves from one category to another. We have tried to track those changes so that users can make comparisons between years, even if there has been a change in how the funding for a specific program has been allocated. Here you will get notes explaining any of these changes and other important information on line items. In this example, the note tells us that in the House Ways and Means and Governor's FY11 proposals, portions of the funding for UMass are moved to other line items. For example, both proposals shift $1.7 million of UMass funding to another line item dedicated to the Toxic Use Reduction Act. Therefore, total funding for UMass cannot be compared between FY10 and FY11. This is an example of the kind of information that is provided when you do a more specific search. Finally, you can download this information as an Excel file, print it, or share it via email, Facebook, Twitter, and a variety of other ways. We are now back at the Budget Browser homepage. Additional pages include a resource and glossary page, a tax revenue information page, and an About the Budget Browser page. I've shown you just some of the ways that you can use the Budget Browser to find information on the state budget. Our staff is happy to help provide assistance if you are using it and need help figuring out, or even through trainings on how to use the Budget Browser. For contact information, please go to www.massbudget.org. And thank you.